Our colleague Hafiz Tijani is going to bring us updates from there as far as the registration processes are concerned. Hafiz, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, David.
How are you doing?
I'm well. How are you too?
Very, very well, thank you. And good to have you with us on Breakfast Daily. What can you update us with as far as the registration processes are going on there?
Well, it's been a lot of challenge for health officials in the Ashanti region because they are not happy that a lot of people are not turning up to the vaccination centers to have their vaccines. Although there's been a lot of sensitization, there's been a lot of media engagements trying to get the public to understand why they need to go through this exercise. But for health officials, they suspect that because the cases are not rising or because the region is not recording cases. That's why a lot of people are reluctant in trying to go to the various vaccination centers to have their vaccines. It's not as usual as when it started. A lot of anxiety, a lot of people were going in. What health officials in the Ashanti region did was that they had to target prominent personalities like the Ashanti Region. So he took his jab. His wife also took his jab. Some sub-chiefs within the region, Ashanti region, the Ashanti Kingdom, also took their jabs. So this was to get the public to be influenced. So if an authority is taking it, automatically people who are their subjects will also fall in and take the vaccine. So that was the strategy. The strategy went on for some time. A lot of people were buying into that idea until now, after the AstraZeneca vaccines were done and they moved to some other vaccines like the Moderna and the Pfizer. There's been a bit of reluctance in the public trying to go to these vaccination centers. So now when you go to these vaccination centers, the centers are empty. People are not really showing up to try and have their jabs. And health officials are so worried about this issue.
Oh, yeah. Hafiz, so generally speaking, apart from the vaccination, I'm having challenges there. Are there officials, like for example, the LCCE, do we have vans going around? Do we have vans, making announcements? Do we have, is there any such activity, or should I say proactivity going on behalf of officials to try and encourage people that this is what's happening? Because you see, I can imagine that as people are in the trotros behind you, in their mind, they are not even aware that there's a vaccination exercise going on, which they may choose to or not to, partake in.
For the sensitization, I would say it was 100% because the engagement by health workers or the health authorities in the Ashanti region was so massive. It was a concerted effort, getting the NCC, getting the Information Service Department, getting the media to back them. And when the jab started, in terms of the AstraZeneca vaccination, a lot of media houses carried this information across. It was a song that was being sung on air. People were being reminded they need to go to these vaccination centers. There were regular updates at local radio stations here and other media houses within the Ashanti region. So people were buying into that this idea. The NCC did its part, trying to collaborate with the Ghana Health Service in the region. The Information Service Department also did its part, trying to go to even the rural communities to try and sensitize them. And whenever these health authorities attend public events, they try to take advantage of it and speak to people who have gathered there or these attendees of these events to try to remind them on the need to take their jabs. The education has been excellent, but like I said, health officials are suspecting that the public are reluctant because these cases are not being recorded again in the region and they don't have this regular update health authorities usually give to tell them that cases are rising, people are dying of the disease or the COVID-19 disease, so people are unwilling to go to these vaccination centers. But you go to these vaccination centers also, interestingly, you speak to people, they tell you that they are there to take their jab because they need a COVID pass. They have heard that a lot of countries are already putting restrictions in place that when you don't have the COVID pass, you're unable to travel to those countries. So people who want to travel outside the country, they are quick to go to these vaccination centers, not necessarily to take the jab because of the education that has been given by the health authorities, but also to get a COVID pass to be able to travel outside the country.
Yeah.
All right.
Hafiz, can you engage any, passers-by around and see, let's see what their thoughts are?
Exactly, David. If you can see even in the background, you find people not adhering to the protocols that were intensified at the peak of the pandemic.
Yeah.
People are not putting on their masks. Social distancing is not there. People are going about their duties so freely. Let's try to engage with some of them and see what they have to tell us. Madam, yeah, how are you? Can I engage with you? All right, so let's try and speak to. Hello, madam, how are you? Can I talk to you? Okay, so people have been reluctant. Let's try and get this, madam. Hello, madam, how are you? Can I talk to you? Okay.
Hafiz,
Hello, sir, how are you? Yeah, can I talk to you?
Oh, for what?
Yeah, welcome to City TV.
I don't know what you want to talk.
Have you taken your vaccine? Have you been able to take it?
I've taken my vaccine.
Which type of vaccine did you take?
The one shot. The one shot.
One shot.
Yeah.
So are you willing to go for the second dose?
No. I
It's
took
a
one
single
shot
shot.
forever, not the second dose. The one shot, complete one shot.
Complete one shot. Okay, so where did you take it?
At my church, they came there. Yeah.
How do you see how people are going about this? Do you see that people are enthusiastic to go and take their jabs?
Yeah, people are enthusiastic to go and take their jabs, but when they go there and see the queue over there, the inconveniences attached to it, actually it frowns them. And some of them too, some of the cases when you take the jabs, you feel some uncomfortable situations around that. That is what I think is pushing people. But I think when it comes to the public and they place at vantage points to inject people, I think people will go there.
But for you, what made you take the jab?
For me, actually, from my infancy, any jab that comes around, I don't mind taking it because I know there's nothing attached to it. It's a vaccine, actually vaccinating you against a certain disease. And so why do I have to reject it? I know there were some kind of connotations to it with nanotechnology. People, when you get jabbed, you will be controlled by a certain kind of mechanism. I never buy that idea.
So let's compare yellow fever, when yellow fever had come and people were taking the vaccines and this COVID-19 pandemic. How will you say the enthusiasm is among the public?
The enthusiasm is different because at that time there was not much education about yellow fever and the media was not that brouhaha over it. And this one, it came with some kind of technology, modern 21st century technology to it, where people think that somebody somewhere is trying to plan something against the world so that they will be able to control the world. That was what actually initially caused people to just reject the vaccine. It's not only in Ghana, throughout the world. In most of the advanced countries, they don't respond to the vaccine. I heard just this week, Holland or somewhere, there was a demonstration against COVID-19. It was all about the jab. They think that when you are injected, it will change your system and your DNA and everything is going to change. And I don't think it's going to happen in that way. Because if it's going to happen that way, different companies wouldn't have produced those vaccines.
How is the education for you in terms of the health authorities getting people to vaccinate?
I think it's on the lower side. The education, you educate and you make the thing available for people to go in.
But there are centers all over.
There are centers all over, but they are not centers all over Adum. If I want to get job in Adum, maybe I have to go to Komfanoche. And how many people want to go to Komfanoche and be in the queue? And this sickness too, they say contact to contact. So how do I do it? If they actually, when we were kids, when there was a vaccination, they bring it to schools.
Yeah.
They bring it to schools, primary schools, maybe secondary schools. They bring it. They see. We're calling it C. They bring it there, and they'll jab everyone. Why are they not doing it that way? Why can't they bring it to institutions, maybe electricity, waterworks, and see that all government institutions, everybody there is have been vaccinated? I think if they do that, because if they do that, then why don't they bring it to a central market?
Abis,
So you think with that the vaccination will go on?
I think so. But if you limit it to your health, and when you are going, you have to carry your ID card when you are going. How many of us, the national ID, how many of us have those national IDs? They are putting stumbling block on people's places not to do it. Some is from us, some is from the government, and some is from the implementation committee. So how do they do it?
So this person has been able to take his jab.
What's his name? What's his name?
Has been laying the blame on the doorstep of the authorities, saying that they are not taking the vaccines to places where people would get easy access. He mentioned a place like Komfanoche Teaching Hospital, where a lot of people will not be willing to even go to some of these centers to vaccinate. Let me try and speak to one other person here to find out from him if he's... Yeah, David.
No, we're going to have to wrap it up here now. We're really grateful to you for your updates. The conversation with the other gentleman was brilliant. So thank you very much for that. And we'll speak more. We'll definitely have to get back into this conversation, because all over the country people are not vaccinating. But we really appreciate what you've done this morning. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Thank you, David.
All right, Kukui.
Yeah, so I think the gentleman spoke to make some very salient points.
He pretty much broke down
it's very simple.
The issues.
If you make it inconvenient, people will not rush to go for it. Make it convenient. If Muhammad won't go to the mountain, the mountain must go to Muhammad. Yeah. Move out, go to people, and make, you can even kill two birds with one stone. You've got Ghana card registration, you need people to take the vaccine. They could collaborate.
Yeah.
Say, while you're waiting to get your card, you can get
vaccinated.
Jabbed.
So it's what it is. I mean, he said one of the things he said was that, you remember the time when they used to take vaccination to schools?
Yeah.
What's wrong with that? Why do we say all the government institutions, we're going to go around the ministries, and we will set up in different ministries at vantage points. You don't have to be in a ministry to take the vaccination, but we are set up there. And so for maybe the next 3 months, we're going to be set up in the ministries at maybe 4 or 5 different places within the ministries. Right, make it easy for people to come in.
Make it convenient.
And then he said, this business of when you go to hospital, you have to get a card, you have to show your card, and all those things. All these are roadblocks you're putting in place. People are not going to get vaccinated. So when you sit and you decry the situation and say, oh, it's unfortunate, why are people not coming to vaccinate? Because you've put impediments in their way.
Yeah, I know.
People think inconvenience is... we don't need to accept inconvenience. So honestly, if it's a slightly inconvenience, I'm not going to do it. Especially when it's not tied to anything else that's beneficial in my life, really.
Let's hope the powers that be are listening, all right? The National Identification Authority, the Ghana Health Service. We want these systems to work. So help us help you. We'll take a quick break.